Step 6. Plan A. Remember, it takes money to make money. The next morning started out like any other. My mom called me and Tina down for breakfast. We drank our juice and ate our cereal. My mom left work. My dad left for school. Mrs. Cotton called us Little Thomases. Everything was the same, except that it was Wednesday. There were 5 more days until the cookie money was due. Before we went outside, Tina wrote down the things we needed to have to make the lemonade sale a success. Lemons, cups, and sugar. Then she read the list aloud. You need something to make the lemonade in, I suggested. Like a pan or a pot or something, she said, agreeing. Then she added a big pot. Done. We now have to buy all the ingredients. What do we have to buy? Sugar and lemons, of course, she said. How are we going to buy them? We don't have any money. Tina looked at me and then smiled. It was the smile she wore when she knew something I didn't. It takes money to make money, Tina said. You have to spend some of the money you have left. She was talking about the $5.75 that was left from the cookie money. No, I said. How else are we going to buy the lemons and sugar, she asked. We have instant lemonade left over from last summer, I said, even though I knew it wouldn't work. Or we could take the sugar from the sugar bowl and use the lemon juice in the refrigerator. Nobody will buy lemonade from the bottled lemon juice. We have to make it from scratch. We can't use mix. We have to use real lemons and lots of sugar, she said. Then we could borrow the lemons from Amber's mom, I said. Amber's mom likes to make pies, cookies, and cakes. She always has stuff like lemons. We could borrow sugar, too. Get the money, Willie, Tina said impatiently. I went into the purple tin in the drawer in my bedroom. Very slowly. I got out the last of the money, all $5.75. I gave the money to Tina. Now the cookie money was completely gone. The purple tin was empty. All $25.75 had been spent. Now I was certain I was going to go to jail. Tina asked Mrs. Cotton if we could go to the corner. She said that we could as long as we didn't cross the main street. Someone making lemonade, said Mrs. Curtis, the owner of Curtis's Fine Groceries at the store corner. At the store on the corner. We're going to sell it, Tina said. I couldn't speak. Great idea, Mr. Curtis said. He wiped his forehead off. It's a great day for lemonade sale. Tina grinned. Maybe her plan would work after all. Tina bought 8 lemons, which came to $2. She bought 5 pounds of sugar for $2 and 3 dozen small paper cups for $1.75. The cookie money was completely gone. I tried not to think about it. When we came back from the store, we went to Amber and Lydia's house to drop off everything we'd bought. Mrs. Washington's, Amber and Lydia's mom, gave us permission to use her kitchen and one of her big pots if we promised to clean it up. We decided that the sale would be at 1:30 p.m. After everyone came back from lunch. We decided to sell lemonade for 75 cents a cup. We knew it was a lot of money, but Tina said we'd call it the best lemonade in the world. We hoped that people would believe it. Then Tina and Lydia read off everyone's chores. She and Lydia decided that they would make lemonade and that Amber and I would make the signs and hang them all around the street. Amber and I got some typing paper from Mrs. Washington and carefully printed the signs. They all said the same thing. Best lemonade in the world, 75 cents a cup. When Amber and I finished making the signs, Tina and Lydia let us help them with the lemonade. First, we all washed off our hands carefully. Amber and I washed the lemonades. Lydia and Tina got the cutting board, and Mrs. Washington helped them cut the lemons in half. Then they squeezed the lemons into a bowl and poured it into the pot. Lydia added water. Tina poured the sugar in. She tasted it. She added a little more sugar. Then she tasted it again and poured in some water. Mrs. Washington helped them put the pot into the refrigerator so that it would get cold. Then, Amber and I hung the signs. After lunch, we got a table from the Greens' backyard and set it up in front of Lena and Lana's house. We were ready to go. George Green was the first customer. "Here's my money," he said. I took the 75 cents and put it into the purple tin. Soon, there was a line of kids from our street and one or two new kids from another. Then, the mailman joined the line. A man who was delivering packages got in line, and Candy, Pauline's babysitter, got in line too. Even Mrs. Cont came out and got in line. Maybe Mr. Curtis was right. The people would buy lemonade because it was a hot day. "It takes two," said Mrs. Washington. She gave us $1.50. "Give us two," Lena and Lana said. I wonder where they had gotten the money, but I didn't ask. I was too happy to get it. "I'll take three. One for me and two for my parents when they get home from work," Pauline said. "Great," I said, and I poured 3 cups. "I'll take two, just to help out," said Candy. In 10 minutes, we had made $10. Things were looking up. Then George Green held out his 75 cents. "One," he said. I gave him 1 cup. He dropped the 75 cents into the can. He took a sip and then spit it out. "Yuck," he said. "This junk stinks. It's terrible." He bent over and grabbed his stomach as if he were going to throw up. I looked around at the other customers. Everyone was talking quietly. Some people had poured the lemon out on the ground and some had poured it on the bushes. Most people had poured it in the gutter. No one was drinking it. The kids who had been in the line behind George stepped out of line. "False advertising! False advertising!" George Green yelled. "This isn't the best lemonade in the world. This is the worst lemonade in the world." Several kids started to laugh. They looked at Amber. She wouldn't look at me in the eyes. Lena and Lana started to giggle. I poured a cup for myself. George was right. It tasted terrible. It had just tasted like sugar and water. I couldn't taste any lemons at all. "Tina tasted the lemonade," I whispered. Tina stopped pouring the cup and gulped it down quickly. "Tastes all right to me," she said. "No, it doesn't," I whispered. "It tastes good, Willie." She drank another cup. Suddenly, I misunderstood the miserable truth. How would someone who liked ketchup on tuna fish know how good lemonade would taste? "I wanted my money back," yelled George Green. "Sorry," said Tina. "You paid for it. There's nothing wrong with the lemonade." "Give me back my 75 cents, yelled George. "No," Tina yelled. "Give it back," said George again. He was determined as Tina was. "No," Tina said. "I don't like to think about what happened next." George tried to get his money back out of my tin box. Tina tried to stop him. George shoved Tina out of the way. Tina shoved him back. George fell into the table and knocked over the lemonade stand. The lemonade tipped over. Lemonade was everywhere. It fell on George and Tina, and it dripped down the side of the Greens' old table and onto the sidewalk. It flowed in front of Lena and Lana's house and down the street toward Pauline's like a river. "You're disgusting, George Green," Tina screamed. "Look what you made me do." Mrs. Green came running outside to see what was happening. "What a mess, George. Did you have anything to do with this?" she asked. George dropped his head. Mrs. Green made George go inside, and his brothers and sisters followed him in. The lemonade turned into sticky puddles all over the sidewalk and street. It was the worst mess I've ever seen. Although I hadn't done anything wrong, I still felt bad. George shouldn't have shoved Tina, but he was right. The lemonade was the worst in the world. Amber, Lydia, Lena, and Lana helped us gather up everything and take it back inside. Then everyone went home. "I guess you were right about the lemonade. It really did stink," Tina said before we went to sleep that night. "I'm sorry my plan didn't work." "That's okay, Tina. You did your best," I said. Soon she was asleep. I lay awake for a while, except for the $10 I made today. I Still didn't have the cookie money. It was up to me now to come up with my own plan.